Superstition, Stevie Wonder. One of the all-time great riffs. Is it a rock tune? Is it a funk tune? R&B? I think it's all of those things, which I think contributes to its wide appeal to so many audiences. And it's just a killer groove. And everything was played by Stevie Wonder. He played the drums, played the bass on the keyboard, and he played the clavinet, which is the main part of the song. Sounds like a funky guitar, right? Well, if you've ever tried to cover this song in a band, if you're a bass player or keyboard player, this song can give you the fits. I'll tell you why. Because of the low notes that Stevie was able to play on the keyboard bass line, if you're just playing a regular 4-string bass, you're not going to be able to play those pitches. They don't exist on a 4-string. If you have a 5-string bass with a low B string, well, then you have those notes. So my solution to it, to play on the bass, 4-string bass, was to use an octave pedal. And not only does it give me the low E flat and D flat notes, but it also kind of makes the bass sound more like a synth bass, right? As far as the clavinet parts, okay, I have read that there are as many as 6, 7, or 8 layers of different parts Stevie overdubbed, which, if you're a keyboard player in a band and you're the only keyboard player, you're going to have a tough time trying to replicate what is on the original recording, which is why anytime I've seen a band cover this tune, it's usually a keyboard player or 2 plus a guitar player or 2. And that way you can kind of split up the parts a little bit. What I tried to do is do a version of what I think are the 3 parts that I can hear, that I'm pretty sure are sort of happening in the song. So I'll explain what I think those 3 parts are, and we'll break each one down to see how they will fit individually and then together. The very first thing that we have on clavinet 1 is the main riff of the tune. This is the part of the song, this is the main part of the song that everyone identifies. Okay, so what you have there are the notes A flat, B flat, D flat, E flat, low E flat. G flat, D flat, right? Okay, so that part is full front in the mix. That's pretty easy to hear. And that's the main thing that most keyboard players will play. There's a secondary part, and let me show you what I think that is. What I'm doing there is that I've got this. Okay, I'm playing an E flat, and then an E flat minor 7 chord. B flat, D flat, E flat, G flat. And I'm just sort of bouncing between those 2 things, the single E flat note and the E flat minor 7 chord, like this. Okay? I'm going to explain more about that in a second, but I want to go to what I think the third part is. Okay, simply the notes B flat, C, D flat. Up and down like that. And just short staccato for the most part. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do now is we'll see how those three clavinet parts work together. Right? So that's an approximation of, what's on the original. When you hear those three things, right, you can immediately tell there's other parts that are missing from that, right? I can't really tell how many other parts for sure there are. I would say at least 2 other parts. But here's the main thing that I kind of discovered in, trying to learn this tune is that, while the notes themselves are pretty important, right? If you're going to be playing this in the original key and so on, you want to certainly get the main riff correct. But really the key to playing this tune faithfully is in the rhythm. And the underlying rhythm of this whole tune is a swung 16th note feel, right? So if you played this tune with a straight rhythm of just 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, it's not going to sound like Superstition, not the way you know the original to sound. What you have to do is swing the 16th notes like this. And, that should be pretty easy to follow because the first thing we hear in the song is the drum groove. And he's playing that on the hi-hat. So that's why when you have these little syncopated swung notes, especially this little figure, even if that's not exactly one of the layers that is on the original recording, it almost doesn't matter because if the feel is the same, right, like that, compared to the original, when you have the main theme on top of that, and then maybe another part that's just sort of filling in, little gaps, then you have pretty much the essence of the keyboard part, right? And then when you factor in the bass on the bottom, just playing those nice, strong quarter notes, with all the other syncopated parts on top, then you have the essence of the tune, right? And so if you're going to cover this tune in a band, my suggestion would be don't get so hung up on what, the original parts were and how many different layers there are. If you've ever seen any live performances of Stevie playing this tune with his band, and there's a lot of people in his band, even those don't sound just like the original. They sound great. One of the main reasons, though, is that they're playing it with that swung 16th note feel. So I think if you can do that, if you think about that groove, when next time you go to play this tune, I think you'll be a lot closer to capturing the spirit of the original. One last thing about Superstition is the chords that are in, I guess you'd say, the chorus of the song. So we've been in the key of E flat minor this whole time. And what we're going to do is we're going to start on the 5 chord. It's a B flat 7 chord. So we'll have this. And the way I'm voicing that is this. B flat on the bottom, A flat, D, F. It's literally a B flat 7 chord, just root, 7, 3rd, next chord, you go up a half step. You go to B7, but it's actually a B7 flat 5. So it's going to sound like this. Okay, so what I did there is I moved B flat up to B. I moved A flat up to A. I moved D up to E flat, or D sharp, as the case would be. And I kept the F on top the same. That's the flat 5 of B. So we have this. Okay? And then back down to B flat 7 again, same as the first chord. And then the next chord is A7 flat 5. And the voicing there on the bottom is an A, then a G, a C sharp, and an E flat. I mean, you could call it D sharp if you wanted to, but it's really E flat is the flat 5. So that's the root, 7th, the 3rd, flat 5. That's a pretty cool chord considering the title of the song and the lyric subject matter, right? It's very sort of mysterious sounding. Okay, let's take it from the B flat 7. So we got this, B7 flat 5, B flat 7, A7 flat 5. And now this one, you could think of that two ways. You could either think of that as G flat over A flat. So I've got a G flat chord, just a triad with an A flat on the bottom. Or you could actually add an E flat to the G flat chord, which would make it an E flat minor 7 over A flat. I think that's closer to what the recorded sound is. All right, and then we finish with the 5 chord. This time it's B flat 7 sharp 5. And what that is B flat, A flat, D, F sharp. F sharp is the sharp 5. And then back. I hope you enjoyed that breakdown. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. There'll be more videos like this to come. Thanks for watching.